Today, I'm going to be giving you 25 tips on how to make your YouTube channel more organized, how to understand your analytics better, and then we're going to do some general tips at the end that you don't want to miss. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? My name is Max and welcome back to another video. If this is your first time on my channel, these are the types of videos I make. They're all designed to help you make your YouTube channel and your live stream work together to create maximum success. For tip number one, and this is arguably the biggest tip in this video, is make sure you're using Tubebuddy. I cannot express this enough, and if you're not sure what Tubebuddy is, basically it's a browser extension that partners with your YouTube channel to give you a ton of analytics on your YouTube pages. You can look at other people's analytics. You can look at what other keywords people are using for their videos. You can search searchable keywords for your videos. It's immensely useful, and I highly suggest that you use it because not only do they have paid options that give you more features, they also have a free option for you to be able to try this out. For the remaining tips, we're going to be breaking them down all into different sections, and the first section we're going to be covering is how to optimize and lay out your YouTube channel. For tip number two, make sure that your channel banner is as descriptive as possible as to what your channel is about. This is the general rule with channel banners. You want people to be able to look at your channel banner and identify what your channel exactly is on the first try without having to dig through your videos. So it's very important that you take your time with this. I mean, if your channel is like mine, you can use mine as an example for that. But if you're doing a channel like on Mr. Bean or your cats, you can do whatever you like there as well. Tip number three is going to be a hard one, but I really want you to consider this. You don't want to be adding any other social media links to your channel banner. What I mean by that is this. I understand it's very tempting to use your YouTube channel to promote your social media platforms, and that's all great, and you should be doing that. However, when people first come to your channel, they shouldn't be seeing things like promotions for your MySpace, your Twitter, your Twitch. They should be seeing promotions for, hey, subscribe to my YouTube channel for this content. And then when you're making your videos, why don't you instead do a call to action to your other social medias in your descriptions? That way you're not muddying up the front page of your YouTube channel. As a bonus tip, something you can do to replace these social media links in your channel banner is you can actually add another call to action subscribe button into your channel banner. How you're gonna do this is super simple. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go into your basic info under customization in your YouTube studio. And then what you're gonna do is put the URL for your homepage of your YouTube channel and add at the end of it, !sub_confirmation=1. And what this is gonna do is make a clickable subscribe link in your channel banner. Tip number four is make sure you're taking advantage of the channel keywords for your YouTube channel. How you do this is super simple. Go to your YouTube studios and under settings, what you're gonna do is go to the channel part of the settings and you can add all the keywords from there. What I strongly suggest you do is make sure you put some thought into this because obviously if you don't know what your YouTube channel is about, this is going to take some experimenting. But what you want to do is once you narrow down your focus, you want to add keywords that are specifically for your niche. Tip number five is make sure that you have a channel trailer, but I don't suggest that you actually make a channel trailer. I would make sure that this is the most recent video on your channel. If you're not sure how to add the channel trailer to your channel, what you're going to do is go into YouTube studios and under customization, just go to layout, and right there is where you can add the channel trailer. Look, I don't want it to come across as I think channel trailers are inherently bad. If you want to use a channel trailer, definitely go for it if you feel like it helps you design your YouTube layout to be able to describe to the viewers better exactly what your channel is about. But for me, I feel like I did that in a good enough way with my channel banner, for example, so that way I don't have to have a whole video dedicated to it. And then after that, I upload in the channel trailer spot my most recent video so people can see that I'm actively uploading and what I'm actively uploading. And then what I've done after that, which we're going to talk about in a second, is I customize playlists to be able to show the viewers exactly what videos I feel like would be most valuable to them based on what my channel is about. With all that being said, that leads us nicely into tip number six, which is delete the uploads playlist that's automatically defaulted for YouTube and create your own custom playlist. For those of you that don't understand what I'm talking about, basically what happens when you create a YouTube channel, you're going to have a default playlist called uploads, and this gives you no customization in terms of being able to change the names or add descriptions or anything. So what you want to do is just delete that and then create your own versions of this. If you want to do another uploads one that shows your most recent ones, definitely go for it. But what I strongly suggest is that you put some thought into this and try to categorize your videos as such. For example, like I've got lots of playlists for my streaming tips and my YouTube tips, so that way they're separated. And then I have well laid out descriptions so that way people can see what they're going to be getting into when they click into this playlist. One little bonus and advanced tip with this is if you use keywords from Tubebuddy specifically in this case, you can actually use those keywords for your YouTube playlist to be able to help them show up in people's recommended. So what do I mean by that? is if you add a keyword that's very searchable into your title and also the description, these can show up in people's recommended feed, so that way they get sucked into a playlist instead of just one video. To stay with the playlist theme, tip number 7, make sure that you have your YouTube shorts separated into different playlists. The reason why you want to be doing this is because of what I just talked about. You can use keywords to be able to help make your playlist actually searchable and recommended. So what you want to do is you want to add hashtag shorts at the end of all of your playlist titles and hashtag shorts in the descriptions, just like you would do when you're uploading your shorts, because this can technically, theoretically, make them searchable in the YouTube algorithm and add them to people's recommended. For the next section, we're going to be taking a look at your video description. For tip number 8, make sure you put a lot of thought into your YouTube descriptions for your videos. If you didn't know, under YouTube Studios, under settings, you can actually add upload defaults for all of the descriptions for your videos. This is very useful because once you lay out your descriptions the first time, yes, you may need to do some tweaking for each video, but for the most part, you'll have the majority of things all laid out. I really strongly suggest that you use mine as an example of what you should be doing, but you can also go to other creators and look at how they're doing theirs, because you never know what types of things you'd want to add until you actually see some examples. Tip number 9 is make sure that you provide links to other videos on your channel in your description. Seriously, put a lot of thought into this, because if you end your videos by suggesting that somebody watches this particular video, you can do it again in your comments by saying watch that particular video again, and then you can also do it again in your description by telling them to watch that particular video. Also, it really helps to have other videos and playlists that are related to the video that you just made, because you want to make sure that you're redirecting people to other videos on your channel. For tip number 10, you can add timestamps to your videos, which I know a lot of you guys may know, but you can also add chapters to your videos as well. If you're not sure what chapters are, essentially what chapters do is they segment your video into different chapters. I mean, for example, you're looking at this video right now. Look at the timeline. You're gonna see different chapters for each section of the video. How you do that is really simple. Just add your timestamps like normal to the video, and at the beginning you can put 0:00, and that's gonna enable chapters. I don't suggest you do this for every single video because it can enable skipping, but if it's a video like this that's split into different chapters as I'm laying it out right now, definitely do it. It makes it very convenient for the viewers to be able to rewatch the video. For tip number 11, I learned this from a fellow YouTuber. His name is Stream Scheme, aka his name is LJ if you've seen him on Twitch. But basically what he did is he added channels he's similar to in his description. If you go down into my description, you can see this in action on my channel. Basically, I said I'm similar to X, Y, and Z channels on my YouTube videos. So the reason for that is because YouTube is all driven on keywords, and seeing keywords in your descriptions helps YouTube be able to navigate people to your channel a little easier. I'm not really sure how much more searchable this makes you or how well it actually pairs you with other videos. This is what I've been told it actually can do, but hey, it looks good in my opinion, and it makes me look a little bit more professional. So for tip number 12, especially if you're doing educational content, I really strongly suggest that you have a bunch of tools and resources that you use and you approve in your description. For example, if you go down into my tools and free resources, I have a plethora of tools and free resources that I either A, use today, or B, have used, because I think it's important to suggest things that you really do approve of, because if you're just putting random things in there that you don't actually approve of, then what's the point? I mean, it's not actually helping anybody. For tip number 13, you can actually add hashtags to your video descriptions, so that way they go above your YouTube titles. This is just like the channel keywords. It's just another measure of searchability for your channel, so go ahead and utilize them because they don't hurt you at all to have them as default in every YouTube video. But if you want to leverage these a little bit more and make them more keen to the video that you're doing, even better. All right, before we get to the rest of the tips, I just want to take a second here. If you're enjoying the video and you're finding it helpful most of all, definitely consider hitting the like button. It really helps me out a lot. Also, if you're new here and you find these videos useful, I definitely have a lot more videos on the channel very similar to this one, so definitely consider hitting the subscribe button as well. These next couple of tips are some useful things that you may not know about in YouTube Studios. For tip number 14, you can actually add a custom watermark to all of your YouTube videos that also acts as a clickable subscribe button. You can access this in your YouTube Studios under the customization section under branding. You can add a watermark that plays throughout every single one of your videos. For tip number 15 in the customization section we're just in right now under basic info, make sure that you're very descriptive in there about what your channel is actually about. This is just another thing that shows a lot of professionalism in your YouTube channel in my opinion, so definitely take advantage of this. Also, you can add your other social media links in this about me part, so that's another way to call out your other social media platforms that's not on your main page. And then lastly, that clickable subscribe link that you created for your YouTube channel banner is actually available here as well. The next section is going to be all about understanding your analytics. For tip number 16, I'm going to explain exactly the order of operations and how each analytic affects the other. And then I'm going to go in and break them down in detail and all the rest of the tips after this. Basically, the order of operations is this. You release a YouTube video, then something happens that's called an impression. Basically, people see the video. Then the next thing that happens is click-through rate, which means of those impressions, somebody clicks on the video. Then the third thing that happens after that is that something called watch time happens, where people are actually watching your video for a certain amount of time. And then the fourth thing that happens is that people are interacting with your video, such as likes, comments, whatever. There's some sort of interactions with the video. Tip number 17, let's go ahead and take a look at impressions first. And this one's super simple because all it means is basically people are seeing your video or they're not. It's gonna be pretty apparent when your video has a pretty decent amount of impressions by just the sheer number of them you're gonna see, because it's gonna be several thousands, hundreds of thousands, whatever. You're gonna see a large number in here. And that's how you know your video is actually getting seen by people. If you're not getting that many impressions, or you feel like you've stagnated on it, you may need to consider changing the keywords, meaning that you're using Tubebuddy to retitle, add better descriptions, or whatever you need to do, but you need to get your video more searchable. That leads us nicely into tip number 18, and when you feel like you've got a healthy amount of impressions on your video, next you're gonna wanna look at CTR, or click-through rate. The easiest way to understand CTR is this: either people click on your videos or they don't. So if your impressions are really good, you've got a high amount of impressions, they're actually leading your channel, that's great. But then if your thumbnail or your title or your descriptions aren't captivating enough and people aren't clicking on it, then that's gonna lead to issues and you not getting any views on that video. So it's pretty simple. With CTR, what YouTube is looking for an average CTR for a video is between 2% and 10%. So that means you fall in the average category for CTR if you're in those percentages. If you're anything higher than 10%, that means your video is above average and it's gonna do very well on the algorithm. I just wanted to re-emphasize it right here. Getting impressions on your video is phenomenal, but if people aren't clicking on your videos because your thumbnails aren't good and your titles aren't good or your descriptions aren't good, that's no good in so many ways. So be flexible. Be sure to update your videos, re-optimize them with Tubebuddy, and also don't be scared to change out the thumbnails for new ones. So now that we've talked about impressions and CTR, we're gonna talk about tip number 19, which is all about watch time. So watch time is the #1 absolute most important metric of any metric that you're gonna look at on your analytics. The reason being is YouTube absolutely wants people to be in your videos and enjoying your videos and watching your videos either to conclusion or as close to conclusion as possible. What that means is that YouTube, just like with CTR, has a certain percentage that they want you to shoot for. With watch time, they want you to shoot for 60% or better. Obviously, they want you to have 100% completion on your videos, but that's unlikely because not everybody's going to stay in for the video's full duration. The biggest advice I can give you with watch time is this: be really flexible with how you make your videos. Test different styles, test different ways of making videos, because if you see videos do really well or have a higher watch time, definitely double down on that style of video. For tip number 20, the last analytic that YouTube looks at is, are people interacting with these videos or are they not? Arguably, all the other metrics are very important, but YouTube loves it when people are interacting with your videos. So if they're commenting on it and you're responding to the comments, that's very important. If they're liking it, disliking it, that's also important. Even if people are disliking your videos, it's still an interaction. The next set of tips are these special tips I was talking about at the beginning of the video, and they're all gonna be centered around things that I've learned so far while making YouTube videos. Tip number 21 is don't be scared to experiment and try different video styles. I'm mainly focusing at the style of your videos. I'm not focusing on what types of videos you're gonna be making. That's all up to you at the end of the day. You have to decide what niche or what types of videos you want to make. But at the end of the day, don't be scared to try different styles in your videos until you find something that clicks and works for you. Like, for example, when I first started off, I didn't use any B-roll with my videos and my videos were really boring. But then I started adding more cinematic B-rolls, adding more funny moments in my B-roll footage instead of having to have like a funny joke all the time. Sometimes I'll just throw something funny in the B-rolls or anything like that. Just the main thing is that you want to make sure you're being as flexible and trying to get better each video. Tip number 22 is that the thing you'll hear all the time is quality over quantity. That's 100% true. I agree with that 100%. However, upload consistency is really important. So what do I mean by that? Yes, quality is #1, 100%. You gotta have top quality videos, but at the end of the day, if you're not releasing them consistently enough, meaning if you have a monthly schedule, a weekly schedule, or a bi-weekly schedule, it doesn't really matter. Just try to release a video within that time frame. Don't get too hung up on one video because you can do better the next video. The #1 thing I've heard from a lot of large YouTubers is that they really feed off their backlog. So people are not only watching their more recent releases, they're going back and watching their older videos, and yes, they may not be the best quality on YouTube compared to their newer stuff, but people are still finding value out of those videos. So it's better to try and release a video within a certain time span, so that way you can be building your backlog. Tip number 23 is what the basis of this YouTube channel is all about: making your YouTube channel and your live streaming platform, whatever platform that may be, work together. I know a lot of people are scared to make either a YouTube channel or to live stream for various reasons. I totally understand, but when you pair them both together, they really add for a lot of value for your viewers and your subscribers. So the main thing to keep in mind with this is if you're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, MySpace, Twitch, it doesn't really matter. Whatever platform you're on, make sure you're always talking about the other platform. As an example, one thing I like to do is I like to do unboxings or do testing live on my Twitch page, because what that allows me to do is involve my Twitch page in my YouTube video process. And then when I make the YouTube video, it calls out my Twitch page, so that way people can know that I'm doing that stuff live on stream. It's just a really cool way to get the community involved with the process of actually making the YouTube video and doing some of the testing. And it's also a really cool way in your YouTube videos to shout out your Twitch or whatever live streaming platform you're on out without having to do this big segment at the beginning of the video. Tip number 24 is very important, and that's to be very patient with YouTube. Whether you've been doing this for a while or if you're brand new, YouTube is a long game. It's not gonna sit here and grow overnight for you. When you release videos, they're not always gonna do well. Some may do better than others. At the end of the day, you're just trying to fine-tune your craft, make each video better than the other. You're trying to get better every day as a YouTuber. You're trying to fine-tune your editing style. Whatever, just make sure that you're focusing on getting better every video, and success will come at some point in some form or another. Tip number 25 can be very difficult at times to determine whether you're doing this or not, but you need to make sure that with every video you release on your channel, you're putting the value of the viewer first. What do I mean by that? You really need to ask yourself during the video making process, why am I making this video? I'm making it just because I have no video ideas and I don't want to not upload this week, or am I making this because I really care about this thing? No, you should be making it with asking yourself this question: is somebody gonna gain value from watching this video? Am I putting valuable information, tangible information that people can apply to whatever you're trying to make video content on? Whether it's educational, whether it's entertainment, it doesn't matter. There's got to be some reason for you making this video. If you found these tips helpful, I'm positive that you're gonna find these tips right over here about YouTube thumbnails equally as helpful as well. Anyways, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bank messaged first at 18:01, which was 6:01, right when I hit the stream. E-Rock's first message was at 8 or 6:05.
Bro, this is good, even with the brush teeth.
Hey, numbers are numbers, bro. The numbers are the numbers.